Good morning, everyone. My name is Priyanshi Shrivastava, a student at NMIMS School of Law, Mumbai, and Vice Curator at Indian Law Conclave. I, along with my whole team of Indian Law Conclave, welcome you all to the third edition of Indian Law Conclave. Third Indian Law Conclave is a two-day national conclave organized by Adhrit Foundation, a member organization of the Alexis Group. The conclave will have delegates from all over India who will engage in 2 days of rigorous learning, reflection, and sharing of knowledge, skills, experiences, and perspectives. It will also provide attractive awards, prizes, and networking opportunities to the delegates. Focus area of the conclave would be Law and Industrial Revolution 4.0, All India Bar Council evolving role in contemporary scenario, Citizenship Amendment Act 2019, emerging trends in real estate sector, labor rights vis-a-vis ease of doing business, legal framework for cybercrimes in India and beyond, neutrality of judiciary in the face of strong political executive, post-COVID-19, a new world order. The conclave will have events such as keynote presentations, town hall meetings, panel and group discussions, and paper presentation competition. The key sponsors for the third Indian Law Conclave are Vidhi.org, Indian School of Law Policy and Governance, and Airness. Along with the key sponsors, we have 20 plus ecosystem and media partners. Now, before we move on with the session, I would like to hand over to Mr. Adhrit Singh, the founder of Indian Law Conclave, to formally welcome all the delegates and guests.
Welcome, everyone. Uh, Firstly, I will thank you that all of you have joined us on a Saturday morning. Uh, Thank you very much, Rama ma'am and Annurag sir. Today is also National Unity Day, 144th birth anniversary of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So I remember him and I bow down in his honor, and we are able to do this convening because he had this wisdom to integrate our country into one and uh, cherish. We are cherishing the freedom which the freedom fighters like him have brought to us, and we are able to openly hold this dialogue. Uh, Once again, I welcome you all, and I hand over to Priyanshi to take the proceedings forward.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Now, moving forward with the session, I would like to quickly brief you all about the structure of the session, simply to give you an idea of what to expect. The session is divided into three parts. In the first part, each speaker will share their thoughts on the topic for about 10 minutes each. In the second part, I will ask questions to the panel on Law and Industrial Revolution 4.0. In the final part, the delegates will be allowed to ask their questions to the panelists by typing in the chat box section. Giving a gist about the theme of Law and Industrial Revolution 4.0, the Industry 4.0 era focuses on digital transformation involving new capabilities for people and machines that will impact every aspect of life across the world. We are at the borders of a new revolution characterized by a range of new technologies that are merging the physical worlds, impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries. It merges the capabilities of both human and machine, encompassing a wide swath of areas such as artificial intelligence, biometrics, renewable energy, 3D printing, autonomous vehicles, and Internet of Things. Tech optimists posit that the wave of exponential growth in smart tech, artificial intelligence, machines, and the interconnectedness of all aspects of modern life through technology will bring profound changes to the society and creates an unprecedented shift from the way we are familiar with how we behave, interact, and think. However, like the Industrial Revolution preceding it, the shifts in power brought about such human technological system also brings about issues of inequality in terms of who benefits, as well as challenges to security, privacy, and community. Today, we are delighted and honored that we have Dr. Annurag Batra and Dr. Rama Iyer with us. I'll start the session by introducing Dr. Annurag Batra. Dr. Anurag Batra is one of the youngest media mogul from India. He is a serial entrepreneur and a mentor to many successful entrepreneurs. Dr. Batra is an author, an angel investor, and a TV show host, and the founder of the iconic Exchange for Media Group, and chairman and editor-in-chief of BW Businessworld Group. He is a first-generation entrepreneur and acquired the iconic business media and magazine brand BW Businessworld, a 35-year strong media brand, as well as the most respected business publication in the country. Mr. Batra is also appointed by Government of India as the chairman of industry committee formed to come up with vocational training framework for the media communication and entertainment industry. He mentors many budding and entrepreneurs and enjoys the process of reverse mentoring, as in what he learns from these young entrepreneurs. At BW Business, BW Accelerate is an initiative to provide a structured platform to entrepreneurs for mentorship and growth. Mr. Batra also founded the Exchange for Media Group, and he serves as the chairman and editor-in-chief of Exchange for Media Group, which includes exchangeformedia.com, which is India's leading media industry website, Pitch, India's only advertising, marketing, and media magazine, then Impact, the Marketing Weekly, then Franchisee Plus, the Business Opportunity magazine, and Reality Plus, that is India's leading monthly real estate magazine, and samachar4media.com, which is India's media website in Hindi. For more details about the panelists, kindly refer to the speaker handbook. Our next speaker for today is Dr. Rama Iyer. Dr. Rama Iyer is the founder and managing partner at Ayana Legal, which has close to 3 decades of experience and has striven to ensure that the firm has carved a niche for itself in the legal realm for services in corporate advisory and transactions, real estate, IPR, labor and employment laws, insurance and consumer laws, dispute resolution, and arbitration. Dr. Iyer did her master's from the National Law School of India University, in which she topped her batch. She began her career in Mumbai before embarking in a robust practice in Bengaluru. She also has a PhD in corporate social responsibility. Dr. Iyer enjoys a close association with various professional organizations and is a member of the Indian Institute of Arbitration and Mediation, India International ADR Association, International Council of Jurists, etc. She also offers advice on legal issues to companies, organizations, etc. She has a passion for helping women entrepreneurs in startup companies. For more detail about the panelists, kindly refer to the speaker handbook. We are glad to have both of you with us at the third Indian Law Conclave. So panelists, shall we begin with the conversation?
Thank you so much, Priyanshi.
Thank you, Priyanshi.
Thank you, ma'am. So, all right, so starting with you, Dr. Batra, would you like to open the panel discussion?
Thank you so much, Priyanshi. Let me thank you and Aditya for inviting me here. And good to make Ms. Iyer's acquaintance, and I look forward to our session. I'll divide my talk. I have 10 minutes and I do a TV show, so I know the value of time, so I'll keep to my 10 minutes. I'll divide it broadly into 4 categories, 4 components on what I'll talk. One is, what can technology do? You talked, the industrial 4.0. How is it changing lives? Legal and business cannot be separated from how life is changing, how world is changing. Second is my journey as an entrepreneur. Third is about, what's happening in the legal world. We do have bwlegalworld.com, and we're building India's #1 legal publishing company. And last but not the least, what are my lessons from COVID? Because COVID has changed the way we work, the way we interact with each other. Priyanshi and Aditya, in normal times, I'd fly down to Bombay or wherever you had the event and meet you. I live in Delhi. I'm doing this from Pune. So, clearly COVID has changed our lives. I don't call it the new normal. I call it the new abnormal. But let me first give you a sense of how the world is changing. We know that in 2034, it is predicted that there will be singularity. To give you the concept of singularity, Singularity means that machines and human beings will think alike. Machines will be able to perform a lot of functions that human beings do. Now, that's a very promising prospect, but it's also a very scary prospect, right? So, one, singularity will happen. My hunch is 30-40% of what we do will be done by robots, will be done by machines. I keep saying that through artificial intelligence, machine learning, we can build a bullet, but when to use the bullet, uh, ultimately human beings will have to take. If you leave it to technology, then you will have scenarios that you've seen in Hollywood movies, where rogue nations and rogue leaders will use technology um, to inflict harm on the world. First of all, the biggest trend that will happen is colonization of other planets. It may sound like, very distant, but it's not very distant. We're sending more and more spaceships to the world, to the space. We're conquering more planets. So, and it will also ease the pressure of on Earth. We've been wreaking havoc on Earth for a long time, and the planet can only put up with mankind's destructive nature for so long, right? So I think more and more colonization of space will happen. Okay, so I think that is something that will likely to happen faster than we think. Okay, so these are this is first. And again, if we don't destroy it, I'm talking of Earth, we'll one day outgrow it. So we have to look at other resources beyond Earth, because when we talk of sustainability, when we talk of SDGs, yesterday Adhrit was talking to me about SDGs. We have to look at what are we doing to Mother Earth. When we pursue corporations, we build institutions and corporations. We have to look at profits, but we have to look at people, purpose, and planet. Um, and whatever we saw in science fiction is actually becoming science facts. And now there will be robots that be going into space and in the workplace. Robots can take on the more difficult, dangerous, dull jobs to save kind mankind, the trouble and risk. They can also theoretically operate more quickly, efficiently, and with fewer mistakes. I say theoretically because, it has not been seen in a lot till they're deployed. Now, electric and self-driving cars are already a reality. Okay, they may be a very small fraction, but over the next few months and years, we will see the traction going. Car batteries will last longer. The charging station infrastructure will grow, because it means when we talk of SDGs, it means it has impact on fossil fuel. If our consumption of petrol, diesel comes down, then we will possibly be able to conserve a lot of resources that Mother Earth needs to do. And again, about autopilot, self-driving cars will become better and better. Now we will have robot. I'm in a hotel. We'll have robot butlers. Um, we already have robot vacuum cleaners and so on and so forth. Uh, um, you know, there are 48 kind of robots available for 48 kind of chores. And these are 48 real life robots. They've been deployed, they're working in homes and offices. So we could easily live in a future packed full of useful robots helping around us in the home as butlers, chefs, or general dogs buddies, or man Fridays, or or home help, whatever you want to call. Now, what will very important is we'll build road over the rivers. Space is finite, and we are running out of space quickly on Earth, especially in crowded urban spaces. Uh, According to me, in future, roads and living spaces have moved out over the waters. When self-driving vehicles do all the work and are fast enough, journeys across the oceans this way might be not unrealistic. And I'm not talking of sci-fi. There are people who are developing and commercializing it. So it's not a sci-fi movie from Hollywood. Flying cars. When there's no space left, we will have flying cars. I've already. Now, solar panel technology. Solar panels are very sparingly used right now. And I'm saying this because if we have to achieve our SDGs, we'll have to focus on it. Solar panels are another technology that has been around for a while, but its future potential is much more than what we exploited. Not only they can now be hitting the tiles on the roof of our house, thanks to Tesla solar roof tiles, but some companies are developing ways of integrating them into car rooftops, where they will be able to power in car tech and make the battery last longer. Hyper-fast trains. Now you know about Hyperloop that Elon Musk has brought in. So we'll have hyper-fast trains. Again, virtual reality and artificial intelligence will become important. Okay. Now there'll be gesture-based computing. As I'm gesturing with my hand, my head, right? So we will, our smartphone devices will capture our gesture. Wearable screens. So right now I'm doing on this. Next time I'll have a wearable screen on my hand, and I'll be doing. These are realities. Driverless lorries, not just cars. 3D printed food. So I can go on fridges that order for you. If you put something that you like in the fridge, it's a smart fridge, and it's got finished. They will automate and order it for you. So smart toothbrushes that can send data to your dentist. When you brush in the morning from the toothbrush, a picture will go to your dentist. Smart meters that check your health. They will understand if there is a blister on my face, maybe I have an allergy. So a toilet that analyzes your deposits. There'll be 5G connectivity. I can go on. So recycling and re-engineering will become the order of the day. There'll be high-rise farms, which means on a 50th stories building, there'll be a farm. And there'll be lab-grown meats. We already see the rise of companies that are into lab-grown meats. Artificial intelligence will be in our lives like it's never been. Robot soldiers. Our armies will have soldiers that are robots. And nanobots that check our health. Uh, 3D printed metal will become part of lives. Cloud gaming without machines will become an order of the day. There'll be Li-Fi. Li-Fi is transmission at the speed of light, faster. So when you talk of telemedicine, therapy, Li-Fi will be very big. So this is what I want to talk about, what's happening in the industrial automation. Now let me take you through my journey. I have had an unusual career. I did what most Indians do before they do anything, at least when I was younger. They go to an engineering school. So I went to an engineering school. Then I was lucky enough to get into a business school. I got into that business school because the quality control was bad. I'm from the first batch of that business school. It's called MDI, Management Development Institute. It's a very good business school, in the top 4 or 5 business schools in the country. And with all humility, I'm now the first alumnus to be on the board of my alma mater. And immediately after this, the reason I requested an early leave, I have a engagement with my board of governors and then with my director on strategy for MDI. I'm also the chairman of the MDI alumni. Now, what are my rules for entrepreneurship? My first rule for entrepreneurship is whatever you can dream, you can make it happen. Second, Confucius said, choose your hobby as your profession. You don't have to work hard because you love what you do. And third is what I wrote a piece called Introduction Capital. If you help other people grow, God helps you grow. If you do that, and don't be afraid of failure. There's nothing called failure. Randy Posh said, experience is what we get when we don't get what we want. So this is what I'd say about my entrepreneurship journey. My book is coming out. It's called 8 Days a Week. It's about how I lost hair 8 days a week. But it's a metaphor for loving what you do and doing what you love. If you love what you do, you don't look at your watch. You don't look at whether it's I work 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days. So it's coming out. I worked for 4 years before I started a company called Exchange for Media. Those who are in the media advertising marketing, it's the business world of marketing advertising media. With all humility, it's the leader in its space. And I'd started to build a B2B exchange for media, but it didn't happen. So we morphed into a website on the business of media. We have a weekly called Impact. 7 years back, I acquired the iconic Businessworld brand and business. I had read it for 22 years as a student, and I acquired it, and it is a multi-dimensional platform with a huge digital first, 55 million traffic, the magazine 40th year, and we built 20 communities, including BW Legal World. So dreams do come true. And third thing I said to you, I'll talk to you about, what we are doing in BW Legal World. I believe knowledge can change the world. I believe communication and inspirations can change the world. We are building BW Legal World as the top-notch destination for all legal professionals, all legal news. And we do our awards and conferences because it's important to showcase new talent. We did a legal 40 under 40. Our jury chair was Shardul Shroff, and India's, I would say it would be Dream 11 in the legal ecosystem. We just launched our annual legal awards. We have former Chief Justice of India, Shri Deepak Mishra, as the jury chair. And again, we are so honest in the way we do we're only custodians of the process. I even got legal notices for not being in the 40 under 40, and I wear them as a badge of honor. And I got it from lawyers, and I'm not afraid because my jury chair and our jury decided it. So integrity matters. If you have something that money cannot buy, it has value. Otherwise, today's world where everything can be, almost everything can be bought with money. You know, a lot of people say, how can awards not be manipulated? I tell them apply for ours. In fact, last week somebody reached out to us saying they want to collaborate on the awards because they feel we are very, very process-driven, jury-led, and very high integrity. So you cannot. So this is about bwlegalworld.com and my lessons from lockdown. Lockdown has showed us, according to me, 6 lessons. One less is more. We are not going out to malls. We are not watching movies in theaters. We are not traveling. I traveled after 8 months yesterday. And honestly, we realized we can do with very little. Yes, internet connectivity and Wi-Fi is very important, I would say. But beyond that, just basic food and a shelter is good. So overall, less is more. Second, never say never. If I told all of my colleagues that we'd work out of home for next 3 months, they'd think I am daydreaming or whatever. But we now realize that when we are compelled to do something, it may be for our good sometimes. So never say never. Third, I keep saying when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. So clearly there is lots of positive things to look for in even in this tough environment. And I'm very grateful to God for helping me in this. Fourth, is it is a time to go within, to introspect, to improve yourself. And fifth is that it is time to orbit change in terms of what you do. And sixth, we are doing a lot because of compulsion. We are not necessarily doing out of choice, but there may be some behaviors they may be good to adopt even when COVID is gone. These are my top COVID lessons, and I would end by saying that what matters in life is attitude. What matters, and the attitude of gratitude matters. It sounds like a cliche, but I believe if you're grateful to God, to your environment, to your parents, to your teachers, your stakeholders, I think you achieve a lot more. And I'm not talking commercial terms. As a happy person, as a centered person, and a healthy person. Of course, if you're all that, then you will also achieve in life. Because if you're disciplined in one area of life, you'll be disciplined in most areas of life. Last but not the least, if you, as young students or professionals, want to do well, you must have a PhD when you start. And that PhD is not a doctorate in education, it is passion, hunger, and desire. If you have the passion, hunger, and desire, you will achieve everything. And life is about trade offs. You got that much only time. You can watch another movie on Netflix, or you can pursue your dream. The choice is yours. I am a very big movie buff, but in the last 7 months, I've only watched one movie. And I used to, before COVID, watch 2, 3 movies in a week because I've been fully focused on transforming what we do. So I am grateful to the third Indian Law Conclave. And legal domain is changing. I want to say that earlier work would walk inside a law firm's office. You have to go out and pursue work. Also, there's a lot of entrepreneurship in legal. So there are new lawyers that are coming up who are willing to do it better, faster, cheaper. Uh, so as partners in law firms, you'll have to earn your space even better. Legal tech is becoming bigger and bigger. So you'll have to adopt legal tech. Personal branding is bigger and bigger. So legal profession, because of the changes in life and changes in business, is also getting metamorphed. Larger firms will have to strive harder to reinvent themselves, to be nimbler, to be agile. So it's clearly a exciting time because right now it's an equalizer. So if you have exceptional skills to get clients and to be able to service them, then there is space for you, because clients are looking for cheaper options. They're looking for dependable options, but they're also looking for value for money. The role of GC will become even more of a journalist. Journalist meaning GENERALIST, not J. So you will have to understand business. More and more GCs need to sit on the boards of companies, because the decisions that companies take are bigger than just legal decisions. These are business decisions. I mean, if you're on the board of Apple, large Fortune 500 and BW 500 companies have their GCs on their board, because if the GC said no, they won't do it. In India, we have a long way to go. I think GCs need to be in boardrooms more than they currently are. I would leave this at that, and back to you, Priyanshi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Batra. It was really optimistic and insightful lesson for us. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Iyer next for the discussion.
Thank you. Good morning, dear Batra, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief of Businessworld Group, Aditya Singh, Founder and Chairman, Alexis Group, Priyanshi, the moderator today, and all participants. It is indeed a pleasure to be part of the third Indian Law Conclave. We have all grown up listening to and reading about Industrial Revolution, while in school and even later. Now we are increasingly reading and hearing about the fourth Industrial Revolution. After Dr. Batra spoke about what could be part of this, I am left with very little to add. So the first Industrial Revolution was about use of steam and water power to mechanize production. And the second industrial revolution used electric power to create mass production. And the third used the internet to automate production. And the fourth, that is building on the third industrial revolution, the digital revolution that has been occurring since the middle of last century. They say it is characterized by a range of new technologies that are fusing physical, digital, and biological worlds, impacting all disciplines, economies, and industries, even challenging ideas about what it means to be human. So it involves the ubiquitous use of digital technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, and quantum computing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, and all that. The fourth industrial revolution is still in its nascent stage, with debates raging on whether it is a continuation of the third industrial revolution, or is it indeed a fourth. So the third was marked by the growth of internet, but the fourth, it looks like it is more about intelligence coming into the internet, into the use of internet. So digital fabrication technologies, for instance, are interacting with the biological world on a daily basis. So engineers, scientists, designers, architects, they're all combining computational design, additive manufacturing, materials engineering, and synthetic biology to pioneer a symbiosis between microorganisms, our bodies, the products we consume, and even the buildings that we live in. So coming to the artificial intelligence and humans, as Dr. Batra mentioned about gesturing, which could mean a certain thing, or the Internet of Things, where the refrigerator or your toothbrush sends signals to either your dentist or to your grocer that something needs to be replenished or something is wrong. So that, and coming to the present situation that we are in with the COVID, we in the legal field have seen a major churning. We used to think that we could go and argue a case and only then get whatever results. I'm talking about litigation. And we never thought that through video conferencing, a day would come when we could get the same orders and probably saving on a lot of things like time, energy, and also the time basically, because when you had to go to the courts and then wait the entire day for your case to be taken up, you used to lose a lot of times. Now, when I have matters in, say, 4 courts, I can simultaneously check which matter will reach first and where I have to be. It could be in various jurisdictions, but then due to the technology that has adapted itself due to the COVID situation, it is a major plus. Of course, it depends on how you look at it. Many people who are disadvantaged with not having enough access to the gadgets are definitely suffering. They do have some kind of challenge which needs to be looked into. And also the fact that we have all the case mines and the artificial intelligence used to get whatever we require in a matter of minutes. Because I started my practice during the time when we had to rely only on books and journals to do our research. So if we needed some point of law or some uh, decision, then we had to spend hours in the library pouring through books and journals and reporters. We may or may not find what we look for, but then the knowledge, and also the knowledge that we acquired was something totally different. So, but right now we have all these web-based search engines which are designed specifically for lawyers, where we just key in a letter or half a word by which we are given whatever we look for. There is also the possibility that you may get inundated with so many results that you lose track of which way you were initially going. But then again, there too, artificial intelligence can step in and lead the the kind of research or the way that you want to take. So that is one. And also the case management system. I'm talking from a lawyer's perspective. The case management system that we have the government, the National Informatics, their site where the all the cases are uploaded and you get the status and the next date of hearing and what transpired, the orders, judgments, everything online. And we do not really have to inform the client, because before the case is over, many a times the clients are aware of what transpired in the court, because the update is already there in the system. It's already there in the internet. So these things were unimaginable when, say, about a decade or 15 years ago. And the other thing is about sorting of cases, that also, and the billing software that comes along with this, and even the artificial intelligence that is employed by courts in, say, in certain cases. Our chief Justice Bobde had mentioned that we will not look at replacing the judges with artificial intelligence, but then use artificial intelligence only to aid and assist the judges in formulating their judgments. And coming personally to how we function in our law firm, the way we used to function was we used to go to the office, say about 8 o'clock in the morning, and remain in the office till 10:30, or work through that's how we used to function before COVID came in. And now we did have challenges initially, because there was the sudden lockdown. We did not have access to many files. We had already used the cloud to take all our files and data online, so we could access, but still there were a few which were very old that we had not still transferred onto the cloud. So that challenge was there initially, but then we quickly ensured that that was also made available. And all our colleagues, the other associates and with the junior partners and others in the firm could work remotely. So right now, we do not really require office as a space, but we still do have that. But what I mean is it's not necessary to be there. So we have expanded the scope of our work. So we are working from home. We are able to service all our corporate clients because they are also working remotely. And earlier we had to meet our corporate clients once in a while, either physically they used to come over to our office and we used to meet them, or that is, we have realized that that is really not necessary at all. The GCs and everyone, we talk to them only over the either Skype or Google Meet or Zoom, whatever, whichever platform that we use. So this industrial revolution definitely has brought about a change, and we, in a sense, are still not aware of what all it can encompass, because we know that all this, the nanotechnology and all that, is part of industrial revolution 04. But what else is there that we are still going through to know? So coming to law per se, we may have to wait and see as to how the technology adapts to law and law also adapts to technology. So this is, in short, what I had to talk about Industrial Revolution 04, my opening remarks. Over to you, Priyanshi.
Thank you, Dr. Iyer. It was really engaging. We learned a lot. So, now, respected panelists, I have few questions based on the discussion. You allow, shall I go ahead?
Please do.
So the first question I had is, while implementing, since Industrial Revolution 4.0 also relies on the use of robots, so some of which will use artificial intelligence. So the question is that who will held responsible for the autonomous act or the lack of security carried out by that property? Any one of the dignitaries could answer this question.
See, thank you, Ms. Iyer, for bringing a different perspective. Now, I think the responsibility is with human beings. I don't think responsibility is with creators. So we need to have checks and balances. Who accesses this technology? I do know about 15 years back, maybe 12 years back, I saw this movie called The Minority Report. I don't know how many of you saw Tom Cruise. And it punishes, it talks about what technology, and some of it is happening now. Okay. It was a movie, could be 14, 15 years. I'm not 100% sure, about 15 years back. And, it talks about if you think of a crime, forget doing. If you think of a crime, because they know they have mapped your brain, they get to know, and they arrest you, whatever, they restrain you before you commit the crime. Watch this movie called The Man. It was 15 years back, right? I'll have to Google and tell you exactly which year. So I think we'll have to devise technologies which anticipate, which build checks, but the responsibility is clearly with humans. I mean, singularity will happen, but emotions, robot cannot give you emotions. They cannot give you wisdom. They cannot give you the ability to distinguish and make a distinction like we do. As I kept saying, technology can make better guns, it can make better bullets, but when to use the gun, I don't think. When you can program it, but I'm not sure it'll go well. So I think I will leave it at that. Responsibility is clearly ours.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Well, if I may just add on to a little of that. Priyanshi, may I?
Yes, yes, sure, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So just to bring a perspective to this, the Ryan Abbott, he is a patent attorney from the UK, University of Surrey. He had filed for patent registration in the name of, in the artificial intelligence, the invention was something that that was patentable. But when he filed for invention of the patent, I mean, the patent to be registered in the name of the artificial intelligence, the court held that that is not possible. That's not possible because that is not recognized. And as Dr. Batra was mentioning, it is really difficult for artificial intelligence to have any kind of emotions or anything. So, but then when you deploy a robot through artificial intelligence, it may be a trigger to various other inventions. So the checks and balances will have to be there, because you never know that if the artificial intelligence brings out a virus, maybe like our COVID, and it is not able to stem that invention and it creates havoc around the world, then what happens? We are, I mean, where do you pin the responsibility and liability? But then I would not say that it may not be possible to pin the liability on the robot itself, because a few decades ago, the notion of intellectual property was non-existent. You
Yes,
couldn't
sir.
think of, intellectual property being owned by an individual, right? So coming to that thing, I think that, and also the fact that you are giving individual status to rivers and mountains. So if that is possible, then I think over a period of time, it may be that the IA also could be held responsible. But then we have a long way to go, because even at that point in time, the human who is responsible for the algorithms should be made liable, because he should know how far that IA can take his invention or his algorithm forward and do certain things. One is about, we did know about the data breach of Twitter, where about 130 targeted accounts, 45 user account passwords were reset. And Zoom also, at the initial stage, I'm just talking about the first half of this year, where 5 lakh stolen Zoom passwords were made available for sale in the dark web crime forum. And Marriott, they also lost quite, MGM, they lost all their the personal details of the guests that they used in their hotel. So that is one aspect. And what about AI? Suppose a manufacturing unit uses AI arm for lifting some weight or something from a place, and that causes injury to human life or property. So who becomes responsible? Is it, I mean, there are a lot of people, it's very difficult to pin the liability, because it will all depend on who created it, who tweaked it, who used it, who bought it, and who ultimately made, I mean, so it becomes very complex. Law has to keep pace with the advancement in AI, but also ensure that liability is definitely pinned on the, right now as it stands. Of course, the liability is with a human and definitely not with the AI. EU has also passed an order in a case where they have, what it says is that I'm talking about registration of patent, where it was held by a EU court that it is a human. So have corollary, the same thing is applied with respect to the pinning of liability or responsibility also. Over to you, Priyanshi.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. I have another question. So, sir and ma'am, since 3D printing is also central to Industrial Revolution 4.0, as Dr. Iyer stated, do you believe that there is a greater burden on companies to ensure that they do not infringe on any intellectual property held by the third party? Any one of the dignitaries could answer this question.
Okay. See, IP laws generally apply to 3D printing. For example, with respect to patents, we have the article on agreement in TRIPS, which states that member countries may provide limited exception to the exclusive rights conferred by a patent. Therefore, some national laws also will be there. But then in its current form, therefore, I feel that it is sufficient to protect 3D files and those using 3D printing technologies for non-commercial purposes. Okay, then Article 30 of TRIPS also, it, I mean, 30 provides exceptions and 6 limits trademark protection in use of course, during use of IP in the course of trade. Okay, so as I told, some national laws consider that the rights of patent holder does not include acts performed in private for non-commercial purposes. So some countries have also established a right to private copying. So it authorizes a person to reproduce a work for private use. So the specificities of 3D printing process means that there are a number of questions that the court will inevitably have to address. For example, who owns an object, when it was first conceived by one individual, and how was it digitally modeled by another, and how was it printed by the third person. So the person who designed the work and the person who digitally modeled, if they are considered co-authors of a collaborative work under the copyright law, is that possible? And if object quantifies for patent protection, would these same individuals be considered co-inventors? So these are areas, but then I think it needs a little more of deliberation by the courts of law for any kind of direction. But I think the laws now that we have with respect to IP laws should be robust. But when I think of it, IPR infringement of the above rights may occur during creation and dissemination process. So that is something that courts will have to be aware of.
Right, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Iyer, for these answers. These are really helpful. So now we open the floor for the questions from our delegates. We already have one question, ma'am. Since Dr. Batra has left, he has some urgent work. I'll put the
Sure, sure,
question forward to you, ma'am.
sure.
So, ma'am, this question is by Advocate Suruchi Kumar. Yes. So, with regards to Dr. Iyer's point on the human being responsible for AI, what are her views on AI created by Facebook, which created its own language and had to be shut down because of not being under the control of the creator anymore?
Well, any creation as it exists now should be under the control of the creator. It has to be. And as answered by the advocate who posed the question, it had to be shut down because it was not compliant. But over a period of time, I do visualize a time when we will not be able to stop AI from functioning beyond a certain limit. So during that time will be the time when we really require the laws to be in pace with technological advancement. We do not know right now whether we have laws covering all areas of IA or even the IR04, because we do not know what else can come. Only when it comes, we will know, okay, this is also part of IR04, right? So as of now, we believe that we know that these are things which will come here, but it is still in its, as I mentioned, nascent stage. So as it goes ahead, law will have to catch up. It will have to make a run, quick sprint and catch up with technology so that it is not used in a way which will cause any kind of harm. So rightly, that was closed down, was pulled down by Facebook. But right now, as I mentioned earlier too, the person who is the human is responsible, and if he is unable to rein in his invention, it is better to shut it down.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much. So we have like questions coming up.
Yeah, sure.
So we have this question from Surbhi Pester. What are the repercussions of imposing the liabilities on AI than the creator itself?
That's a very interesting question. Now, we do not consider AI a juristic person like a company or a natural person. So what repercussions could occur will come up only when we have the rights and liabilities of the AI established. Because right now we consider AI to be the property of the inventor or the person or the company which owns it. So such being the case, the AI, does it have its own rights or liabilities? When that is not there, the onus falls on the person who created or the person who owns it or the person who deployed it. So right now, I don't think AI has any rights or liabilities. It is just like a car that that you have in your garage. So the person who uses it, or I mean, it's a very bad example, but then that is all that I could think of right now, right? So they can, I mean, right now, as the law stands today, there are no liabilities for AI. It's only the person behind the AI.
Right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So there is one more question after which we'll close the session. This question is from Pallab Das. The question is, do you think there has to be a limit to technology? For example, as a country, if we limit the use of technology and retain our traditional use of things, how would law respond to this?
Okay, we have always seen that law is slow to respond to any kind of challenge. It takes a while for us to realize that, oh, there is some aspect that needs legal intervention, and then we go in there. So even cryptocurrency, for that matter, we know how it's shaped. First it was okay, and then it was banned, and then we know how it is right now. So it's a little difficult to even answer, because we are at a stage where we do not know what we are looking at, right? So when we are doing that, we should know, see, artificial intelligence, when artificial intelligence is used, we should also know what it is capable of delivering. So when it is beyond that, it should be in a controlled scenario. As I mentioned, what if it comes up with a bomb or something, which can have devastating effect. So it definitely has to be controlled, but then I limit also legally as well as scientifically, so that the person who is using it has control over the results or what the results are capable of doing. So as long as AI does not have emotions, one has to be wary and scared of AI. But then at the same time, there are so many beneficial uses. AI is used by farmers to predict weather, to use whether there is going to be rain, what seeds to sow. So one should not limit in that aspect, but then it should be used by an intelligent person so that the limits are known.
Right, ma'am. Thank you. It was really explanatory. Now, before we move to our closing remarks, I would like to request Dr. Iyer to give a short message for the audience to take away.
Well, my message as a takeaway would only be that artificial intelligence is here to stay, and IR 04 has ushered in a lot of awakening that we, certain things, of course, when we actually think of it, we have moved on from where we were. If we actually think of what Sir Vishweshwaraya had mentioned way back, he said, industrialize or perish. So what I would say is change, accept change, embrace change or perish. But then when I mention embrace change, it means the known and the unknown, and legally be prepared for the known and the unknown.
Thank you, ma'am. So it's time for us to conclude the session. I would like to thank both the panelists here today, Dr. Annurag Batra and Dr. Rama Iyer, for joining us at the third Indian Law Conclave. I would also like to thank the audience for being so patient throughout the session. Lastly, I would like to thank our sponsors and media partners for making ILC a huge success. We will now take a short break of 10 minutes. Stay tuned for the next session on post COVID 19, a new world order, which will be moderated by my colleague and friend Shubham Bhagat. Thank you.
Thank you, Priyanshi.